connection to a human smuggling case. And Attorney General Ken Paxton's impeachment trial starts tomorrow in Austin. Plus, a new Texas law requires drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a guardian.
The star of the summer that brought all kinds of hot weather to the area is returning. We'll talk all about that and more, but first, here's Zach.
And a new week of high school football and some new rankings. I'll have that coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. Victoria Police Department confirmed a body was found in a bathroom near the Victoria Youth Sports Complex. A maintenance worker located the body inside a bathroom during a routine cleaning at 9 a.m. Sunday morning. Officers say the body was identified as a 41-year-old unhoused man from the area. Victoria Police Department continues to investigate, and we will continue to update the story as information becomes available. A Victoria teen died after being hit by a vehicle while crossing East Red River Street and Navarro. Friday night around 8:25 p.m., Victoria police officers responded to East Red River and Navarro in response to a crash involving a car and a pedestrian. Their investigation revealed that a 15-year-old was crossing the intersection westbound when he failed to yield right-of-way and was struck by a northbound vehicle operated by a 43-year-old man. The teen was transported to an area hospital before being transferred to an out-of-town hospital where he died from its injuries. VPD said there were no citations issued. Last week, the Goliad County Sheriff's Office arrested these 4 people during a traffic stop in connection to a human smuggling event. The Sheriff's Office said their investigation revealed 4 female U.S. citizens were working together to smuggle an Honduran man from the Valley into Houston. The 3 women were arrested and charged for smuggling and engaging in organized criminal activity, and the man was arrested for engaging in organized criminal activity as well. The City of Victoria Council will meet tomorrow evening with a full agenda. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick in studio with more.
Karina, last week, City Manager Jesus Garza proposed a new budget for the 2024 fiscal year. Tomorrow, the council will decide whether the city will approve and adopt the decision. The budget would include projects like street repairs and a public safety headquarters. Garza will update the city on the PHSQ's design. Victoria citizens would also see a 13% decrease in the property tax rate if the budget is approved. The meeting will start at 5 p.m. Tuesday, September 5th. You can find the council in the council chambers at 107 West One Lynn Street. The City of Victoria invites locals to visit the meeting and share their opinions about anything on the agenda. Karina, back to you.
Adarius, thank you. A huge victory for the Luther Hotel in Palacios. The Rochelle Foundation was able to free the Luther from contract. This means the hotel might be saved from demolition. Edith Gower, the co-chair of the Palacios Preservation Association, says, quote, "This doesn't mean we have won, but it's a significant step forward." And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with meteorologist Howie Gordon, who has the latest on the weather front.
Thanks, Karina. Okay, so it's up for debate because the system's recalibrating. We might have hit 100. If not, we got stopped just short at 99. But it's a different story with our heat indices where we were at 111 degrees. So oppressive. I mean, it's hot or it's not. It's kind of hot or very hot. Our oppressive heat is looking to return. And today, hey, it was very much on the hot side. And the way things are shaping up, we're looking at a very hot week ahead with these heat indices flirting with 113 to 115 and counting. We'll touch more on that coming up in just a bit, Karina.
Howie, thank you. A suspect is dead and several others are wounded following a shooting near Bryan, Texas this afternoon. The county sheriff says a man allegedly shot 3 people before barricading himself inside a home. After a period of time, the man came out and opened fire at authorities. The sheriff says the suspect was then killed. The other 3 victims were hospitalized and airlifted in unknown conditions. A Labor Day weekend party at a Galveston Airbnb ended with 2 men dead and multiple people hurt. The incident happened early Sunday morning during an altercation. The owner of the home said it was the first time he ever rented it out as an Airbnb.
We saw chaos. There were kids everywhere and just screaming, crying. One kid was laying on the ground and he got taken by ambulance. It was just really sad. And then another guy here was laying on the ground. He was just drunk. They were so drunk they couldn't even stand up.
It is unclear if there was only one shooter or multiple shooters. No arrests have been made. The Texas State Senate impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton begins tomorrow. As the only third official to be impeached in the state's history, Paxton faces 20 articles of impeachment, including alleged obstruction of justice, abuse of public trust, and bribery. He has described the allegations as a, quote, politically motivated sham, unquote. A 2/3 majority is required in the Republican-controlled Senate to remove officials from office. The trial begins at 9 a.m. locally Tuesday morning. 23 people in a Houston area Denny's were hurt this morning after a vehicle crashed into the wall of the restaurant. As you can see, it was going fast enough to break through the wall and completely enter the building. It's not known exactly what led to the crash, but police say none of the injuries are life-threatening and the driver was not injured. Convicted drunk drivers in Texas will be required to pay child support if they kill a child's guardian. House Bill 39-3 states the convicted drunk driver will be expected to make payments to the child until the child is 18 years old or until the child graduates from high school. State law defines intoxication manslaughter as a person operating a motor vehicle in a public place. That includes an aircraft, watercraft, or an amusement ride. The new law went into effect just this past Friday. So here's your Bureau Report tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you think House Bill 39-3 will stop people from drunk driving? Yes or no? According to these results tonight, 3% are saying yes and 97% stand at no. Thank you for voting tonight. Visit us tomorrow for our latest Bureau poll. Now, Ukrainian President Zelensky plans to replace his defense minister as the country is in the middle of its major counteroffensive and marks nearly 2 years since the Russian invasion. Also, Russia and Turkey's president hold face-to-face talks about the Ukrainian crisis.
As Ukraine approaches its second year at war with Russia after Vladimir Putin's invasion of his country, Ukrainian President Zelensky making a significant leadership change to his military. In an address to his nation, Zelensky announced he's firing Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov. The change comes as Ukraine is locked in a bloody counteroffensive with Russian troops and amid a military recruitment scandal where Zelensky recently fired all of Ukraine's regional military recruiters, accusing them of accepting bribes and abusing their power. A major development also expected on the battlefield. Sources tell ABC News the next U.S. aid package to Ukraine will likely include depleted uranium rounds, which are munitions that can be fired from American Abrams tanks and are due to arrive soon.
It's very effective as an anti-tank munition.
Though some groups criticize using these kinds of munitions, the UN's nuclear watchdog saying there's no proof it poses a radiological hazard to populations. Meanwhile, in Sochi, Russia, Russian President Vladimir Putin welcoming Turkey's President Erdogan. The two leaders set to discuss the ongoing war in Ukraine and reviving the deal between Moscow and Kyiv, allowing Ukraine to ship its grains and agricultural goods through the Russian-controlled Black Sea. Russia backed out of that agreement in July. Hours before the two leaders met, Russian forces again slammed Ukrainian grain warehouses in Odessa. In recent days, Ukrainian forces have made advances in the south, while Russian troops have escalated attacks in the eastern region. Ukraine's President Zelensky expecting Parliament could approve his new defense minister as soon as the end of the week. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
The game preserve fire has grown over 4,000 acres in Walker County, Texas. However, it is now 60% covered. The fire no longer poses immediate threats and no homes were lost. All evacuation orders have been lifted as fire crews' efforts continue with assistance from the Florida Forest Service. State senators tore the damage left by Hurricane Idalia in Georgia. Here's more.
Crazy to see, something that you were just standing in the previous day be gone the very next day. So it's like, boom, done, gone, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nicholas Perry has been working at his grandmother's restaurant since he was 13. He says the year's worth of memories made can't be replaced.
It is sad because we have so many memories at the restaurant, and the restaurant has been my only job I've ever had. So I started when I was 13 years old, and I turned 30 this year. So to to see the past 17 years like kind of washed away in some regard it is emotional.
He says when he and his family walked through the restaurant after the storm, there was a lot of damage due to the roof blowing off the building.
So this is the part of the building that came from the far left side corner. When the VPD officers called, they said that your roof just blew off, and so we didn't really know what they were meaning by that. But when we got here and realized that this is the whole left side of our roof that blew off, and that has caused the water damage on the inside because we have no protection.
He says the moment he and his family saw the remnants of Hurricane Idalia, their emotions were hard to control.
It was emotional because my grandmother has been at the restaurant for the past 48 years, and she's standing in the very middle of our front counter, and she's just crying. She's uncontrollably crying because she doesn't know what the next steps are. But I told her it's going to be okay because there are next steps.
Perry is hopeful. These next steps include relief from FEMA. I'm told Senators Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock are urging President Biden to approve a disaster declaration request to provide support for families who have been displaced, and it would also help support businesses working to recover, including small businesses like Ellis Top Corral.
And we intend to lean in and try to get all of the support that we can at the federal level for these small businesses. A lot of these businesses are literally family run. Businesses like that, they don't have a large margin. And so here's where we've got to do everything we can to provide them the support that we can, and we intend to stay focused on that.
The Texas Tribune has this story. A report by the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas shows that economic growth, low taxes, and big cities all keep residents in their home states. This story is also available on crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, authorities in Pennsylvania are still searching for an escaped murderer. Also ahead, the head of United Auto Workers speaks out about the comments President Biden made on a potential auto strike. 5 people are dead and 3 others hospitalized after a multi-vehicle crash near Atlanta early this morning. Investigators say the crash happened shortly before 4 a.m. Authorities said one of the vehicles went over the wall of a state road overpass and fell down onto an I-85 exit lane. Authorities are unsure how the other vehicles were involved, but they say there were signs at least one of the other vehicles was hit or obstructed on the exit ramp. No information was released about the victims. The search for an escaped killer, Danilo Calavante, continues in Chester County, Pennsylvania. The 34-year-old escaped from the Chester County prison in Pennsylvania Thursday last week. Authorities say they've received about 100 tips since yesterday, but none have led to his capture. With residents out of town for the long holiday weekend, authorities want everyone to be vigilant of their surroundings upon their return until the convicted killer is back in custody.
While there are a number of challenges, we are confident that if he is in there, we will find him. We are asking for the public's help in a number of ways. First, familiarize themselves with the photograph and description of Cavalcante. There is every reason to believe he remains in this area. Second, within the secured area I have described, as well as near there, we are asking residents to check on their neighbors. If they're not at home, please let us know so we can check their property in their absence.
The Pennsylvania State Police is asking residents to provide any information that leads to an arrest with a reward of up to $10,000. New research shows that standstill traffic can lead to more stress and affect both your workday performance and even your behavior at home.
Commuting spillover is a term that describes how the time wasted sitting in traffic can negatively affect our daily lives. Researchers like Charles Calderwood at Virginia Tech found workday demands that are challenging, interesting, or engaging help boost energy and attention. This extra boost may help support safe driving on the way home from work. Our work and home lives are connected, and the commute is often the bridge between the two. Major disruptions in commuting schedules, such as construction or road closures, can often lead to more stress due to the unpredictable nature over time. However, commuters may be able to adapt to these changes by finding different routes and altering the time they leave, helping reduce that stress. With this Medical Minute, I'm Nguyen, ABC News.
The head of the United Auto Workers spoke out to President Biden today about a potential strike against the big 3 automakers. The president told reporters in Philadelphia he does not expect a strike to happen. The union's contract expires in 10 days, but union leaders remain skeptical a deal will get done.
We've seen a decade of record profits. I mean, our members made massive sacrifices. We were blamed for everything that was wrong with these companies back in the recession, which was wrong. It was false. It's one of the biggest lies ever told. And so, this is our time to after a decade of hard work by our members and massive profits and continued massive profits, $21 billion in the first 6 months of this year between the big 3, our workers deserve their share of equity in this, and they're not getting it. So,
the union has a list of demands, including a 46% pay increase, a 32-hour work week, a return to traditional pensions, plus other items. Analysts say a strike could send vehicle prices even higher. Now here's Howie.
Thanks, Karina. As most of the showers exit the area, the heat shall return. We'll talk about it straight ahead. All right, we're about an hour and almost 40 minutes left of Labor Day 2023. So we'll celebrate one last time. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day, or what's left of it. However, hope everyone is having fun. So slight rain chances. We saw those today. We had those the last couple days. Unreasonable heat. I think it's already returned. We're going to dry off. Not that we're seeing a lot of rain anyway. So hot later on as well as what little rain we do have. So, okay, I said it, recalibration. Earlier today, I'm like, hey, we got held under 100, but hey, we saw a recalibration in the sensors. We hit 101, so we were above 100 today. Almost 8 degrees above average, but hey, nowhere near a record from the year 2000 where we saw 110 degrees. That's ambient. Now, we eclipsed that today, but that was the real feel with the heat calculated index temperatures. We did hit 111, and part of that is because we have some moisture moving in along the sea breeze, and that started to spike up our temps. Now, most of the area stayed completely on the dry side yesterday and the day before, even though we did have some of those scattered showers. Most of that activity, again, stayed off to the north-northeast, and as time keeps moving forward, these storms are pulling away. They were closer to this area a couple hours ago. Most activity moving away, high pressure pushing in. That means a couple things is we're going to continue to stay dry, and we're going to heat up. Now, earlier today to the southwest, we did have some of these advisories and warnings. Now, I'm expecting as the week moves along, they should start to pop up now in the crossroads again as the heat continues to climb. All right, our dew points, they've gone up since earlier today, so less air, same amount of moisture, even some added moisture. These numbers have come up. What does that mean? Yes, unreasonable and on the stuffy side pretty much all summer long. All right, here is what we have. All right, we did eclipse 100. We went to 101 with the ambient, but with the heat indices, yeah, we hit 111. So that is a precursor of things to come. We're looking to stay pretty much on the oppressive heat side through much of the week. Maybe a cool down with the weekend, but pretty much during the work week, yeah, we look to really jump up on the hot side. Some heat indices hit maybe 113, 115, and counting. What do we have here with our future look? Yeah, 110 for tomorrow, 113 Wednesday, 111 on Thursday. So again, those very high numbers that we've dealt with really since June, they look to stay here in the crossroads for the time being. Okay, why is all this happening? Here's the reason. Sea breeze moved inland. Sun destabilized us. We had some unstable air, moisture from the Gulf moving in, departing storms, leaving some moisture, and yet we saw some pop-up showers today. Most areas staying on the dry side. Some of this moisture, this low-level moisture will continue to move in, but as I talked about, what was the star? Who has been the star of our summer? High pressure. What does that mean? Pushing everything down, warming, clearing out our skies, maximum sunshine hitting us, and when you combine that with the moisture now in the area getting trapped by the high, and we become very much on the uncomfy side with temperatures flirting with 115 degrees. Here's our future tracker. As I said earlier, just small amounts of rain that just really are on the outs from what we had originally. Here's our marine forecast. Water-wise, 93, bays a little bit on the choppy side. Okay, I'll make it quick here. Most of these storms deteriorating or not really coming our way, but we do have that feature out there in the Atlantic. Yeah, that's headed towards the Caribbean and is looking to strengthen. I don't want to get crazy on it yet, but we're going to keep an eye on this feature to see what ends up happening. Should be a tropical storm potentially a few days from now. 79 degrees overnight, and then for tomorrow, for back to work, back to school, 97, heat indices pushing 110. And again, we have a few days where, yeah, heat indices, I don't have them really up to date here, but we could see 113 to 115 potentially, and maybe a little bit cooler then as we head into next weekend. For more weather, news, and sports, you go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com, and that is free with any Android and iPhone. And now we go to Sports with Zach.
Thanks, Hal. The Astros and Rangers deadlocked in their biggest series of the year. I'll have that coming up in sports. We are in the home stretch of the MLB season, and the Astros and Rangers locked in their biggest series of their season up to this point in Arlington. The Rangers jump out to an early 2-0 lead off the bat of Corey Seager. They would eventually go up 3-0, but in the fifth, Houston heating up. After a base knock gets Houston on the board, the seeing eye single is going to play 2 more to tie the game. But Corey Seager would strike again. That's going to put Texas right back up 4-3, but back come the Astros. Mauricio Dubon answers to tie the game, and right after him, Altuve one-ups him and puts one in the second deck. Back-to-back bombs for the lead. The Astros put up 6 runs in the 7th. They beat the Rangers 13-6, and with the Mariners loss, the Astros now tied for first. They also win the Lone Star Series. It's a new week for Texas high school football, and that means we've got more big games on hand this Friday. A battle of 2 giants between the Edna Cowboys, who are ranked number 3 in Class 3A, and the Refugio Bobcats, who are number 2 in Class 2A, will battle it out in Refugio. Last year, the Bobcats won the matchup, which is a game that Coach Jason Herring says was the turning point for his very young team. Great test for 2 elite squads. Another gigantic game this week, one of the oldest rivalries in Texas high school football, the Cuero Gobblers and Yoakum Bulldogs. In Yoakum, welcome to the top 10. The guys led by Army commit Zachary Taylor, who just completed 75% of his passes and 3 touchdowns. Mason Nataro of Cuero threw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns against Navarro. What a battle between 2 top 10 powerhouses. Another Crossroads team ranked highly, Tidehaven. Don't sleep on the Tigers. These guys are legit. Joseph Dodds at running back, who is a Baylor commit. Head coach Lucio says their quarterback very accurate, and he has a lot of weapons. Also, a defense that is yet to allow a point in its first 2 games. They get Palacios on Friday. And I can't help but feel like the Hallettsville Brahmas are being forgotten about. They're another team that should make a deep push this season. But speaking of Hallettsville, this is former Hallettsville Brahmas star Jonathan Brooks with Texas's first touchdown on the year. What a way to set the tone for UT's offense as they beat the Rice Owls. Keeping it in the Brooks family, this right here is Dalton Brooks with the hit in the backfield. Dalton Brooks out of Shiner, Texas. They also saw Ruben Owens with a few nice runs in his first game. The Aggies had its way with New Mexico en route to a 52-10 victory. And some UHV soccer news. Their program seeing some early success. Einar Rolfsson was named Red River Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week. That's it for your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather with Howie. Plus, a corgi gathering happened over the weekend at Buckingham Palace. SpaceX launched more satellites into orbit on Sunday night. 21 Starlink internet satellites were sent into orbit from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It is SpaceX's 62nd orbital mission of the year, setting a new record for most flights in a year. It was also the 10th launch and landing for this particular booster. SpaceX also brought home the 4 astronauts of its Crew 6 mission, who was at the International Space Station since March. Corgis paraded outside Buckingham Palace over the weekend to remember Queen Elizabeth II. They came dressed up in crowns, tiaras, and royal outfits. About 20 royal families and their pet corgis gathered to walk their dogs outside the palace. Corgis were the late Queen's constant companions since she was a child. In fact, Elizabeth owned 30 corgis throughout her life. Generations of the dog descended from Susan, a corgi that was given to the Queen on her 18th birthday.
She's doing things right, because I thought about whenever my dog goes, I want one of his children. I don't want a new dog. I want descendants of my current dog.
Isn't Norman like fixed?
I hope not. I need that. I think so. I might have to settle.
Now, those are beautiful corgis. Now, really quick, the SpaceX, 62nd of the year?
Yeah,
when I was a kid, you're looking to do one space flight a year.
Well, Adam has a new story about it in his shows every week. Yeah, we read them. He had the one from India. Yeah, I didn't even know SpaceX was in India like that.
Either way, they fly around a lot more.
They're booked and busy.
They're booked and busy, exactly. Now, if you want to fly around, what's the weather like out there? Well, we had minimal amounts of rain showers, so probably wouldn't have impacted too much. But look who's coming back. High pressure, and that is going to push down in the atmosphere. That's right. Zach is shocked by that. It's going to warm us up and trap some moisture, thus really elevating those heat indices. So overnight, right around 80 degrees. And then for tomorrow, here's what we got. Back to school, back to work. Heat indices pushing 110. We hit 111 today, so I wouldn't be shocked if we get past that again for tomorrow. Looking ahead, though, got a couple days. You might go 113, 115-ish, with lots of sunshine later on in the week. Karina?
Thanks, Howie. Now, Louisiana says an animal control team rescued their 100-year-old African tortoise from a canal last week. The reptile named Biscuits, what's up with Biscuit? That's a cute name for a turtle, a tortoise. Well, Biscuit was in distress. He was taken to an animal shelter and later reunited with his family. They say he escaped after a storm blew their back gate open and broke the latch.
He ran away?
He ran away.
I mean,
Biscuit ran away.
About 30 feet in about 2-3 hours.
He got pretty far. Look at him go.
He was alive for the Dallas Cowboys' last Super Bowl win. He saw true history.
You're making a joke. I'm like,
okay.
It was only 30 years ago, but
tortoises live a long time.
Yeah, a long time. That was a happy story. The alligator was not alive when we showed him. He was alive.
Oh, it wasn't?
No,
he was dead.
That's horrible. Yeah. So I hope little tortoise guy, I hope he does well.
All right, thank you, Howie, and thank you, Zach, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Join the Sunrise team tomorrow at 5 a.m.